Welcome back to Brokers of Secrets. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about anti-persuasion, the physics of frictionless influence. Now, let's break this down and explain what that really means. Most people don't like to be hard sold. If you hard sell something to someone, what's really happening behind the scene is that they feel like their agency, their own choice and freedom of choice is being taken away. This is very unconscious. That forcefulness to sell and to close a deal may seem like hard work on the salesperson's side. Oh, I'm working hard. They're just saying no. It's not my fault. No. It absolutely is your fault. If you hard sell, and I've done it before, right? And it's usually in situations where, oh crap, payroll's coming and you're low on cash. I mean, being fully transparent. I think many of you have experienced that. As a business owner, you have likely experienced that moment where you're like, I am desperate for money because I need to pay my team, I need to pay my vendors, I need to pay for inventory, I need to pay for whatever you need to pay for, you need to pay your mortgage. And the other person on the other side may also be desperate for results and success and money. And so two desperate people don't do well together in business. You need to come from a place of abundance, regardless of how low your cash is. And that's not an easy lesson to learn. But that's the start. If you are persuading with force, you end up giving people a reason to push back. Here's what you do instead. You need to become the path of least resistance. This is the secret here. In order for you to create frictionless persuasion and influence, where it's really easy for someone to say yes because they want to, that's different. That is you making yourself the path of least resistance. What does this really mean? It means that you engineer your environment, your language, your identity so that people are attracted to buying from you or doing what you suggest. They persuade themselves. This is an incredibly important skill and more important now than ever. Because if you go back to the 70s and 80s, there were a lot of hard sales and people were okay with it, but that was kind of the norm. But even then, really good salespeople, really good leaders and managers knew how to persuade in a way that caused people to be drawn to them. Now, at this information age with AI and quantum computing coming out, there's a plethora of data out there. Options out there. People can swipe on their Instagram, their TikTok, their Amazon, and buy a million other things other than paying attention to you. You need to make yourself desirable to talk to, not forceful. There's a big difference. You want to draw them in. Now, let's talk more about why anti-persuasion is important in a way that if you don't use force, what's going to happen? Well, first off, the unconscious aspect of buying and selling is that no one likes their freedom to be threatened. And more importantly, no one wants to feel like they are trapped, threatened, their safety is compromised. No one wants to feel that way. They want to not reduce their options by paying for or buying with you. They want to increase their options and choices and freedom. If you use force, would you really increase their freedom? Now, sure, I can understand when a friend comes to you and be like, you really need to go to the gym. Like, I'm going to drive you there. Please get in the car. Let's go to the gym. You might say that seems forceful, but really good for you. And you feel the desire maybe to go with your friend. But that intention is the key. If you're forceful because you're desperate and coming from a place of lack, you're going to come across really negative. And people are going to want to avoid you, especially in this day and age. I remember getting on a phone call one time. And this guy was trying to sell me some consulting. And this guy, probably in his 50s or 60s, been a salesperson for a while, I could tell. But I got on the call and then he's like, you're not going to be one of those people who say no to me today, right? Because everybody has said no to me. I'm like, that doesn't sound like someone I want to buy from. It's like the person who no one else want to go out with. Are you wanting to be that person who goes out with them? Psychologically, on the surface, you might say, oh, no, that doesn't matter. But deep inside, you probably don't want to. Or the product. The product that no one else wanted to buy, are you really wanting to buy that? There's a psychological factor of, I don't want something that someone else don't want. You have to engineer your identity, your environment, and your language in such a way that allows other people to find whatever you're selling desirable, and to find it desirable to buy it from you. Those are two different things. Sometimes someone can sell something very desirable, but the person is a pain to deal with. They're forceful. They are annoying. You don't want to buy from them. You might just literally not buy the product altogether. I've done that. You've done that, I'm sure, right? I've gone and looked for a truck one time and the salesperson was super annoying. Didn't want to buy from them. Walked out. Went to a different store. The salesperson was absolutely amazing, charming, but very, very honest, authentic. And I was like, I want to buy from this guy. When you begin to really consider what causes people to buy and put energy into something, it needs to be authentic. It needs to be coming from a place where you are the path of least resistance. Going through this path of least resistance, they're going to get what they want with minimal force required from them. So if someone's going to buy something, engineer the environment, the language, and your identity to make it really smooth and frictionless. So now let's talk about how. How do you engineer the environment, the language, and your identity? These are important questions. Let's go into them each one by one. If you want to change the environment and optimize it to make it easy and frictionless, you need to create desire. If you want language to be anti-persuasive, to be frictionless, to really bring the person in without feeling like they're being persuaded or influenced, that it's their choice because it is, you need to make sure they feel that they are in their driver's seat using your language. You just happen to have the best options for them to choose from. And you're going to make their life even easier. Then finally, which drives it all, is your identity. If your identity is someone who's desperate, if your identity is full of friction, hard work, and problems and challenges, you're going to create those externally. Your reality, your model of reality will be created based on that feedback loop. And it'll be further cemented until you decide to change it. Is there an easier, smoother way to do things? There always is. And when it comes to buying and selling, you really need to make it as smooth and easy and frictionless as possible. So you cannot have walls that cause your customers to feel the resistance inside of you. Your unconscious mind, you need to optimize it, upgrade it in such a way that causes your identity to be this. You are someone who can easily and effortlessly achieve your goals. You have tons of deals. These all need to be part of your belief system, your identity. You're just someone who gets stuff done. You're just someone who attracts wonderful opportunities. You're just someone who naturally finds yourself in the greatest of places with the best people doing the best in business. You need to design your identity, who you are. If you don't design it, you're just by default whoever you were. The product of environments that you didn't design, of parents and school and friends that you may not have designed, you're just a product of default. That's not what you want. You want to be a masterpiece that you design. And by doing so, you're optimizing your identity to be attractive to people, you as a person, right? And so when you do that, the environment will begin to shift as well. So let's get more deliberate when it comes to how you design you. I would design 100 attributes, put them in different categories: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, hobbies, habits. Design all of those, right? And make sure there's no negative attributes, meaning I don't waste time. Well, because if you design that, your mind's not going to process negation. It's going to go to waste time as an attribute. So you want to use positive attributes, positive language. It would sound like I'm efficient. That would be it. And you want everything that's I am in there. Now, if you find yourself writing negative things, it's okay. You can have a list next to it that says, I am not. And you can put down, I am not. And then you'll want to run through resolution to resolve all of them. And we teach the resolution process inside of Upgrade Your Mind in a Week, as well as in our upgrade trainings. Now, language. Instead of saying buy, you can say don't buy. Now, you may say, well, doesn't that sound weird? Why would you tell people to not buy? No. Let me put it in a context for you. When you do say, I don't want you to think about committing and buying today, what happens? They're going to think about committing and buying today. It's like, don't think of a pink elephant. You can learn linguistics to help soften and reduce resistance. And you need to be not attached to them buying or not buying. You need to understand that you are a guide and you present the best options. And if people choose to buy, that's amazing. The problem with a lot of people is that they have a desperate outcome they need and they want, and they pour their heart and soul into it. And they're like, it has to work. How are you translating that desire into reality? My suggestion is, in your language, you need to sound abundant and you need to actually feel abundant inside, right? I recommend that you use 3 specific language models that you can learn and use today. It's very simple. One is understand negation. If you say don't miss out, don't be late, your mind's thinking, I'm going to be late, I'm going to miss out. The client's going to oftentimes do what you suggest. For example, I don't need you to sign up today. I don't need you to feel completely comfortable about this idea of joining us and making a purchase right away and being completely committed. I don't have such expectations. What I do expect is for you to open your mind and allow yourself to hear our options and see if it is something that you want. And if it is, I'd be honored to serve you. And if it's not, we shake hands, we say thank you, and it's wonderful that we met, and that's it. No big deal, right? And of course, if you think that there are friends that you have that may be a good fit, we are always going to be open to meeting your friend and seeing if we can serve them. This is now a mutual decision. This is now not a one-sided, I'm here if you want to buy. No. That's desperation. You're acting and looking like you're not, but you're actually being forceful, right? So ideally in your language, you need to master the usage of negation or when to not use it. The second model of language is that you need to learn permissive language. What does that mean? It means that instead of saying, hey, you have to do this today, or you're going to miss out on the discount, permissive language sounds something like this. You may notice that as we begin to talk about this product or this service that you're interested in, that you find a lot more benefits than you previously expected. And that's a good thing, because if you pay attention to these things, you'll notice why so many people have been referred to us. Because their friends are getting great results, they're happy about it, we get the referrals. It's not just that. It's that when you use our service, your friends are proud that you have gotten access. That is permissive language. It's a very soft, it's a very not forceful, hey, you may, you'll notice, and that could totally happen. This may present itself. It could possibly be, right? This language model is one of the primary toolkits that you have to learn if you really want to influence other people. There's a 16-week training protocol that we take people through in Upgrade Others, and it's baked into our curriculum. So when people learn permissive language, they use it and they master it. That language model is the single most powerful language model to reduce and remove force and make it the most, I would say, the path of least resistance and the most desirable path for your customers and your clients, your investors. The final language model I would ask that you consider to learn and really master, if you choose to, right? This is, again, permissive language. It's called quantum linguistics. Now, to put it simply, it's the ability to think of language not in a binary format, not a yes or no, but in all of the layers in between. Some people are like, it's either yes or no. Either I have health or business, but I can't have both. That dichotomy is a linear dichotomy. It's a binary dichotomy that a lot of people have. Oh, either I can have this or that. The truth is, what if you could have both? You could have it all. If you think as a binary thinker, this or that, black and white, right or wrong, if you think in that manner, your language will reflect your limitations. We are actually quantum beings, and I mean it in a very literal sense. This body that you have, this mind that you have, is quantum in nature. You've just been trained to think in a binary format, in a very linear right or wrong format, because it's easier to manage individuals that are in either state 1 or state 0. Computing has been that way for a long time, ones and zeros. But we're venturing into quantum because it's far more, it's exponentially more powerful. To be someone who's going to succeed massively in business, in sales and persuasion and influence, you need to think as a quantum thinker. And this term is thrown around a lot, but I mean it in terms of the mathematics behind it. You need to be able to see ones and zeros simultaneously, and or double negation, double positive. There are so many combinations. And in order for you to think that way, you need to free your mind of the normal limitations of this or that. For example, if a client comes to you and say, you know, I can't afford this product because I have to buy this house that I'm buying, or I have to go and make this other thing happen. They are already revealing to you their limitations. They're telling you that in a binary world, they can either have money for this service or product that you offer, or they can buy their house or whatever it is they buy. They are presuming a world of limitation and scarcity, and that they couldn't have both. That's exactly the language model you need to practice, which is, what if you could have both? The only way for you to know is to understand now and test if it's not a 1 or a 0, and it could be something else. And when you think that, you'll notice you also become less desperate, less trying too hard, less interested in being forceful, because what happens is you're going to say, well, if not this client, then someone better. If not this deal, then something bigger. But this client will likely say yes because we're the best. And that means this client and other clients are even better. They will all join. In fact, they're all great. You will think in that terms, not in, oh, they will either say yes or no. You know, someone used to ask Milton Erickson, a journalist asked him, Dr. Erickson, have you always been able to hypnotize all your patients? Because he was a hypnotherapist, a legendary hypnotherapist. He says, yes. And some I'm still working on. Notice the flexibility in language. This is the key. It's not being manipulative when you are creating the path of least resistance that creates a win-win. You're being forceful, that's when you're manipulative. Finally, I will bring up this point. We started with creating an environment that makes it easy for persuasion to happen. Your environment will reflect what's going on in your identity and in your language. So if you have all three aligned, your identity, your language, and your environment, you're going to win all the time. You're going to be able to persuade without friction. You're going to be able to influence without resistance. You need to be congruent within your identity, within your language, and your environment. And when you do that by design and you remove anything that is in the way, anything that's negative, and you find yourself aligned, you're going to have the most optimal version of your reality.